Hello, 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 hello. I am back. I am back. Thank you all for clicking on this video. You know, um, a lot has happened, a lot has changed, and I'm thankful. I am thankful. God is good. He's so good. All right. So, I am back. The Lord has called me back, and what I want to share with you guys is that I'm able to be honest with others, and I'm also able to be honest with myself. And so um, what I was able to figure out was that I started off on the right track, and I can be honest. I started off on the right track. I did my testimony, and then the next video that came through literally was really sent from the Lord. Like, He gave me all of the words written down, on my notebook. And for those who haven't watched that video, please, I encourage you to watch it. Very second video that I posted. And so when I realized that's really right, when I realized I was supposed to get on YouTube and share things, but I went left. I went left, and I definitely want to apologize to everyone who I might have offended, might have rubbed the wrong way, because I definitely had some self-righteousness going on. I definitely had some, yeah, I mean, self-righteous, and I was out here acting like a Pharisee, and I got caught up. I got caught up, but I came on YouTube to share my testimony, and then you guys, whoever were able to watch my videos, you guys were able to see a whole nother testimony just going right through the videos. God is good. So now I am back. I am back on the right track, back on the right road, and I am here to stay on the path. I started this page out with my testimony on how the Lord delivered me from homosexuality and from a whole bunch of other things, and that's where I was supposed to stay. I was supposed to stay on that. I wasn't supposed to go off to the left and start talking about, other things, and, like, what I am qualified to speak on is the LGBT community, because I've lived it. I've been in it, you know. It wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long ago that I was in the LGBT community. So, I mean, ever since I was in first grade, you know what I mean? So I should have stayed on this path, and that's exactly what I'm here to do. So on this channel, I'm not sure how often I'm going to be uploading. I mean, I have a lot. I mean, literally, I just came back from prayer, and I'm like, you're right. You're right. I should have stayed on this. So I wrote down a couple of things, which I definitely I'm not gonna put in all. I'm not gonna put all of them in one video, but it's definitely gonna be some things that I go over on this channel where I hope that I am able to help somebody out. Recently I had recorded a video, but I'm like, no, because it just hit me. It just hit me like literally like 20 minutes ago. And I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and plan this out right. I'm going to write down things inside my notebook, and that's how we're going to do it. Because I'm like, well, if I go back to YouTube, I mean, well, I don't really have that much to say. I don't, what are the videos? What are they going to be about? But yeah. So, and I realized that YouTube doesn't necessarily have to be a forever thing. That's the thing that I was thinking, like, oh, well, if I started, and if I just leave, like, what? But it doesn't have to be a forever thing. Like, you may be only on YouTube just to share your testimony, or you may only be on YouTube for maybe, you know, 6 months. It just, after like 6 videos, and then you may be done. But this right here, I mean, I'm ready to get into it. So, uh, 2020. So 2020, last year, I got married, and me and my husband, we got married inside our church, and that is exactly where we met. And for all of you who would like to go back and watch my testimony, I know it's really, really long. I am probably going to try and make a shorter video, basically just kind of giving like a brief rundown of my testimony. But definitely, even if you don't have the time to watch my full testimony, you will be able to basically get on track, get up to speed through these next however many videos. So yeah. All right. So, going through my deliverance, I definitely want to talk about this. And I'm going to try and not make it that long. So, going through my deliverance, boy. All right. So, rewind. I come back up to Jersey. Now, mind you, I am still messing around. I am, still not getting myself together. I was still going through the motions. I was still out here wilding out. I was still drinking. I was still smoking. I was still, engaging in fornication and sexual immorality. I was still talking, meeting up with people that I wasn't supposed to. I was still dabbling in the party drugs, and it literally, God, just shut it down. He shut it down. He shut it down. He shut it down. When you don't know, if you can't see the red signs, if you can't get it together, God will definitely move you. He will do it. Period. So that's exactly what happened. So I don't have to go into the details of all of that, because I kind of talk about that briefly in my deliverance video. However, so going through my deliverance, so I was still wilding out when I finally had my eyes focused literally on myself. I'm standing inside my cousin's bathroom, at a baby shower. At a baby shower, and I'm sitting here looking at myself in the mirror in the bathroom, pupils just dilated high, and just, I'm like, bro, like, it's like 4 o'clock. It's like 4 o'clock right now. I'm at a baby shower. I am around little kids and my grandma. Like, I'm like, why did I pop this? So I knew things were getting bad, because I'm like, okay. Before, I would just kind of like drink it down. But now I'm sitting up here and I'm crushing it. Okay. So I'm like, now I gotta stop. Now I'm like, okay, what am I doing with my life? I got to the point where I'm like, is this my life right now? Like, literally, like me inside the bathroom after I took what I took. And I'm looking in the mirror and I'm just like, not happy. Just not happy. And even though I was just out of it, like I was out of it. Even though I was out of it, like, I knew that I needed to change. I knew that something had to happen. I knew that I needed to be in church. Before I came up to Jersey, I was attending a church. Yes, this was before I met you, Fiona. So I was attending a church, and the church was cool, and I couldn't really tell you what kind of church it was. I mean, I know it was a Christian church, at least that's what it seemed to be. So I don't know if it was a Pentecostal church, but I knew that I had never experienced, shouting before. And when I seen that, I just could feel, like there has to be God in this. Like, this has got to be real. So I'm like, I need to be in church. And so I reached out to my cousin, and she directed me to this church that she found through her boyfriend's mother. And I'm like, okay, boom, I'm there. I don't even remember what day it was of the week, but I knew that, I was going to church that week, that Sunday. Um, I always worked Sundays at my job working at Panera. So, and the service started a little late too, at least later than I was, accustomed to, like used to. So I thought that was pretty cool. Service started at 12. I'm like, all right, well, definitely, we can definitely make this happen. No excuse, like when your church starts at like noon, like you don't have an excuse on why you're not going to service. Like, I get it. 6 o'clock, real early in the morning. But when it starts at noon, like, bro, like, what are you doing? If you're not at work, just like me, if I'm not at work, like, then I definitely would love to be inside church, enjoying the sermon and the service. So, I went, and it was a Pentecostal church, and I'm like, I could definitely, like, I just knew it. Like, after I walked in and I sat down, that kind of awkward moment, like, all eyes on you. When the prayer was given, like, I just felt so good. I felt so good, and I ended up clapping. I remember clapping after the prayer, and I sat down, but it was like a clap, like, yes, like, thank you, like, this is what I needed, like, this was what I was reaching for, this was what, my soul needed. It was that kind of feeling. So, yes, so found the church. So boom, from the church, it was like going to church every Sunday that I could, and then I remember talking to the pastor, and I wanted to become a member, and then I became a member, and and he was like, listen, like, I don't want you to take it personal or anything like that, but we do have to speak, don't take it personal in the moments when we do speak on, you know, homosexuality, because we have to go over it. And I'm like, that's fine. Like, I understand. Um, and it was just like, just that moment right there. And I'm like, well, I don't want to be left out of heaven just because of, my attraction to women. And, I just remember looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm just like, okay, well, again, like, if you are, if you're real, then you're gonna have to do it. You're gonna have to do it. And it's like, God just, he needs your cooperation. Are you willing? And I was willing. Because God has delivered me from that lifestyle. It's not of a matter of him delivering me from women. It truly is, he's delivering me from a lifestyle that just doesn't suit me anymore. Like, it doesn't. And it's like he really forced me to think about it. Like, and I felt like things started to happen after I told him that in church. Speaking to another lady, basically stating that, like, I don't want to be left out of heaven just because, I love women. No, I love women. I loved women. Like, every ounce of me, like, like, honestly, I loved all of it. Like, but just the thing about that, he forced me to go back in my past and really, truly be honest with myself. It was like every Sunday that I went, the Lord was just stripping things off of me, just stripping it off of me. and it was like my eyes being covered, and it was like each time I went, it was like, it got brighter. The shades, the invisible shades that I was wearing, it just got clearer. And I'm like, wow, like this is really happening. Um Definitely, in this video, I am going to try to go ahead and include oh man. So what I like to do is, in the beginning of each year, I like to record a video, basically recapping of the previous year. If you, are open to it, I definitely suggest you to do it. It's not like a YouTube thing or anything like that, but do it for yourself so you can look back on it and just see like how much you've grown and changed and matured. So I'm gonna see if I can insert a little clip right there, and it's just beautiful. I mean, like, the Lord really has done so much for me. He did it. He did it. He did it. And I can't stress this enough to people. You know, it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, it's cool, we hear you, but where's the proof? Like, show me. People like visual, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give it to you because I got it all here. I got it all here. I'm ready. So, um, so yeah. So you guys, you're gonna be able just to see the transition, like the little clip in front of my testimony, it was just a crumb. Like, he has done so much, and I have it all here still, So, um, all right. So I'm like, well, when it came out, when it was revealed to me, like, this is happening, this is real. When the Lord opened up my eyes and gave me, this, like, it was like the switch being turned on, like, oh, my attraction to men. And I'm like, whoa, like, really sitting there like, wow, this guy is really attractive. Hold on a second. What did I just say? Like, and I really had that moment, like, inside my mind, like, not like a lusting thing after him, but I'm like, wow, like, I really like the way that he has, that, how he has his beard, trimmed up, or, I really like, you know, his, like, authority. Like, I don't know, like, it was it was so crazy. I'm like, yo, is this happening right now? Like, if people only knew what was going through my head, like, going through my deliverance, like, so I'm like, wow, like, this is real. This is really happening. So it came to the point where I'm like, okay, the Lord is really speaking to me. Like, he's really changing me. So I had to come to terms with that. And when I came to terms with that, like, literally, like, my spirit was rejoicing, but, like, my flesh was literally bawling. Like, I was boohoo crying, like, scared, nervous, worried, just didn't know what to expect. So after it was revealed to me that, yeah, you are going to change, you are not going to be a lesbian anymore. I'm the type of person that of course, everyone wants to try their best not to hurt anyone. I don't want to hurt anyone intentionally. Nobody really wants to. So when it came down to girls, when it came down to them, I'm like, all right, so if I know that the Lord is delivering me, let me not go ahead and sit here and lead anybody on. Let me not, my mom used to say this to me, like, she said it to me, like, my freshman year, when she really, like, see the changes. Well, this might have even been when I had came out to her. Yeah, I was in, like, freshman. I was in ninth grade. Where she was basically like, you don't have to advertise yourself, like, basically. So I went back to that, and I'm like, you know what? I need to change up my look. Like, I was already thinking about that, and then it was this one day. I woke up in the morning. This was when I was working at TD. I remember waking up in the morning, and it was like, throw out your clothes. Throw out the male clothes. Go to the mall, go get yourself some new clothes. So I did that. I was obedient. I went, and when I tell you that trip to the mall was so awkward, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm on the other side of the store right now. I used to shop over on that side, and I remember walking in and the woman was like, "Hey, do you need any help?" And I'm like, "No." I had no clue. I would have had no clue that my life was going to turn out like this. But after I told that lady, that I understand when he says it's time, he says it's time. And I don't want anyone to like just give me the side eye because you think you know me or you think, this is all a phase. Listen, none of that was never a phase. None of that. Did I ask for this? No. But I knew he was going to make that change. I'm so honest with people, just like I am with myself now. Like it's insane. Like just to think about everything that has happened up until this point, I'm like, yo. And like if he's delivering me, I don't want to keep on getting attention from women just for me to pretty much turn them down, or even people getting the impression that I am that way and you don't even know me. Like I don't know. Like, so I went and I bought some new clothes and I was scared. I was so scared to leave the house. But I made it out. And I was so uncomfortable like the whole day. And even just days after that, I tried to kind of blend like my old style, like kind of with, I don't know, kind of with this new style, with this women clothing. um, and I mean, I'm pretty much still doing the same thing, but it's not like masculine. Like, it's not. Like my nails are growing super fast. These are the longest I've ever had my nails. The longest. Because I can't stand them. I never could stand them. Like I always cut them. But when I look at my hands, I think of my mom's hands and how strong she was and how she never got her nails done. It was just all natural, like just her own nails, super long, not really super long, but I mean, to grow your own nails, the length that she had them, I'm like, where is this coming from? Like, all of a sudden I'm waking up with nails? What is this? What is this? I was so nervous. I'm like, wow, like this is just a whole new experience for me. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm gonna wear, but I'm gonna figure something out. So I went to, where did I go? I went inside American Eagle, and I'm like, well, I don't really know what to put together. Um, I did try on, yeah, I did try on the clothes before I went, and that was also something that I never used to do. I never tried on clothes, even when I wore male clothes. I just bought it and I just left out. Like it wasn't like a regular thing. Like if I knew my size, then I was just getting it. And the kind of clothes that I was getting, I used to shop at Cotton On, so I was like, I knew like what to get. So tried on the clothes, and I'm like, okay, my body is really exposed right now. I don't really know how I'm gonna do this, Lord, but I mean, I gotta be obedient. So I ended up getting black pants, black shirt, and I think I got me a pair of jeans, and I also got like maybe like two more shirts, like real basic. So that day, I had to go into work. I wore all black because I'm like, I don't really want nobody to see me. Like, honestly, like, I really felt like my body was exposed. Like, I was walking around naked. I'm like, I don't really feel comfortable in this. You know, I almost had like a panic attack walking out of the house to go to work. And I'm like, man. And I remember going over to a friend of mine who we used to work together at TD, and I remember walking over there, and I felt very, very uncomfortable too. Um, but I was like, do you see what I'm wearing? And she's like, oh. And I'm like, wow, like this is unreal. This is unreal. Like this is really happening right now. So so that was that. So I'm like, all right. And then I remember if it wasn't that day, it had to have been like maybe the next day or maybe later on during my shift because remember, I really worked the late shift. I could start as early as 6 p.m. and get off as late as 3 a.m. They had like this kind of like flex schedule going on. So later on in my shift, um, I heard get rid of it. So I'm like, okay. Immediately I knew exactly what I was being led to get rid of. So I'm like, all right, I gotta get rid of it. I gotta get rid of all of it, all of the the I guess you could say lesbian paraphernalia. I have to get rid of all of that. So I'm like, all right, definitely, you know. And I remember the bag that I used to keep all of that stuff in, those gadgets, and I remember just tossing it inside the dumpster, to my apartment complex, and it was like a kind of like dusting off, like my hands, like, all right, done. Like what's next? What's next on the list? Clothes are gone, those items are gone. Um, and I knew that there was other things that needed to be gone too. But I'm like, wow, like he really led me to do that. Like, you know, you spend money on those stuff, like you just, and it's like, you just kind of want to be sure, like, like, oh, well, if I do have to get rid of this, I want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing, that kind of thing. But of course I am. Like, so yeah, I mean, so that went, and I'm like, okay, now I have to figure out how am I going to be a girl? Like, what, you're going to have to teach me how to act. You're going to have to teach me, you know, what things to wear, because I want to be comfortable, but I also I don't want to fall back into my boyish ways either. So like, Lord, you're going to have to help me in this, like I got to shave my legs now. I have to, like, and when I tell you, I had to learn my body, and I'm still learning my body. There are things that I never experienced because of me wearing loose clothes and, like breathable material. It seems like these clothing industries, they're just out for women to continue to put money in the doctor's office, pockets. Like, it's like, I can tell the difference in material and fabric and all of that. Like, I just didn't understand it. Wintertime come, I'm used to being warm, comfortable, and all of that. And I'm like, now that I'm wearing women's clothing, I'm like, bro, what is this? I'm wearing a sheet of paper. Like, what? I'm cold out here. Like, I don't understand. Like, why do they do this? But, so I'm like, wow, like, you're going to have to teach me how to do a whole lot, and I started like freaking out. I'm like, well, like, Lord, like, I don't want to be put with, a man that is controlling, or, like a womanizer, or, just all of that, like all of your fears. Like, I don't want anybody to take advantage of me. Like, like at this point, like, technically I'm still a virgin. So all of the fears that I had, it all directed down to intercourse. Like, I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. When I was a lesbian, having a baby, I mean, it was a nice thought, but now I'm like, oh, this is like, this might actually happen. I need you. Like, I need you to help me. So literally, get your mind off of that. Walk by faith and not by sight. And from there, I'm telling you, I was fine. I'm like, okay, all right, I'm gonna trust you. All right, I hear you. And that's exactly what I did. I walked by faith and not by sight. And, eventually, while I was going to church, um, I met my husband at church, and he told me that, when he came, like, he did notice me. But it's crazy because he was looking for the same thing I was looking for. Even after me getting out of my relationship with the last girl that I was with, I said, I want somebody that has a relationship with God. And so he's like, well, with me noticing that, like, yeah, like, you really are serious about this. You're coming consistently, like every Sunday. You're getting involved in, Bible study and prayer and stuff like that. Like, I knew, like, okay, you're definitely different. And then actually having a conversation with me, he realized, like, yo, you are going through grown people stuff. Like, this is intense, like, intense. I mean, you don't really come across many people that has a testimony like this. Like, I mean, and if you do, like, if there are people out there, which I'm sure that there are, like, you guys need to share this stuff because it's important. We have people, documenting their progress, going through their gender changes, like they're transitioning. We need to be showing the progress on how the Lord is bringing us through, because the enemy, he don't stop. Just because I'm married, to a man, it doesn't mean that he stops. People need to be, aware that the same struggles, the struggles that you're going through, the same struggles that I went through, or that I'm still going through. And this is how the Lord got me through. This is what I did, things like that. I have a lot. Like, I have a lot. I have a lot of things that I want to share with you guys. Whoever is watching this video, whoever is subscribed to my channel, like, I've never been more sure, and more serious about this, like, about really anything, but the Lord did it. Like, the Lord did it for me, and I know that he can do it for you. So that's definitely something that I am going to do on this channel. So, if you guys want to rock with me, then definitely go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned. All of those out there who are going through deliverance, from homosexuality, from drug abuse, from alcohol abuse, I'm definitely here to encourage you, to keep on going, keep on press forward, hold on, because the Lord is with you. He is with you. He is with you. Hold on, because he didn't bring you this far to leave you. And I am definitely proof, because a whole lot. I've been through a whole lot. Deliverance did not take long, and even just the time that me and my husband met and married, it wasn't long at all. So, I mean, and it was a whole bunch of stuff that went down, between that time frame. I mean, I came back up to Jersey 2018. I was pretty much, I mean, what? By the end of that year, like, deliverance was here. Like, it was just, and I came back like March. deliverance happened in like October. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. But so I really do appreciate you all, and I hope to see you guys soon. You guys stay blessed.